minions. Bot lane. Okay, so someone asked, he doesn't quite understand when the bot lane is freezing or not. Okay, so let's just quickly explain it. Here we have an image of bot lane, right? Okay, so if the wave is in the middle, then it is 50%, like 50-50, wherever it's gonna go, right? Because it's in the middle. Nobody knows exactly where it's gonna go because it's just RNG. It depends on who minions focuses each other first. If the wave is here, chat, and the minions are equal, it's six minions versus 6 minions. Where is it gonna push? Where is it gonna push? It's gonna push this way. Why is that? Because the simple fact that if you think about enemy minions have to run all the way from their base, they have to run all the way here, while this side's minions will go here. And this is much shorter, right? There's a shorter path than the other minions have to take. So the closer it is to this side of the map, the faster it'll push to this side, right? And then it'll be like the thing is waves go like back and forth, you know? And the way you circumvent this is by having like, let's say you have 6 blue minions here, and then let's write with a different color. And then you have 10 red minions here. And this way, the wave will actually stay in this position. And maybe you need to thin down the wave a little bit. But because these minions will always be winning, even though blue side here is getting reinforcements first, because red side has numbers advantage, the wave will stay here, right? And that's just basics of minions. It's pretty simple, I think. It's pretty simple. And but let's you said neon lol ADC guide. Let's see. I can have a look. Which one should I watch? There's 2 videos here. This one?
Do you want to improve on AD carry?
Alright, it's 40 minutes.
Stuck and don't know how? Don't worry, I gotcha. Hey guys, I'm Neon. I've been playing League of Legends professionally for 7 years now, most known for playing in the LEC for teams such as Vitality, Misfits.
I saw the first one and I don't think it's too good.
I've also been rank 1 twice and have been challenger every year since. I made this video because I remembered when I was starting out how there wasn't a lot of educational content from pro players.
Top, I can freeze for an hour, no problem, and in bot my freeze breaks so soon. Yeah, perma-freezing in bot is not real. So in bot lane, I can just quickly finish the point. In bot lane, when you have this 6 versus 10, right? Okay, I forgot to do this pink, but you get the point, right? You have this mini wave that's like here frozen. You will never freeze this wave for more than 2 to 3 waves in 99% of your games. Why is that? Because in top lane, what you can do is you stand here, an enemy top laner can't do anything. But in bot lane, what ends up happening is enemy bot comes, they pushes the wave, and they crash it onto your tower. So ideally, what you want to do is you don't want to let them crash it on your tower. So what do you do? What you do is, let's say, so typically in bot lane, you freeze when enemy is basing, right? So let's say enemy pushed the wave, you held it, and now you have a freeze here, right? 6 versus 10, you have this freeze here. Now, enemy bot lane is going to slowly come back, right? And you have this freeze here. And what you do is you slowly thin down the enemy wave until it is equal. And at that point, now you can actually do what the top laners would do, which is to start sitting here. Because when the wave is equal, you don't have to worry about enemy minion fucking you. So you can actually start to just convert this freeze into a slow push. And you build up a big wave. So then essentially you get the 10 minions and they will have like 6, right? And then enemy bot lane can't do anything. And then you get the slow push going here. And then you get a big ass crash. And then you either base, you trade, you do whatever you want, right? That's essentially the idea. Perma-freezing in bot lane is not real. It is not real.
Like I've gathered enough experience to be able to share it and teach it in a very
Can we show examples?
manner. So this video is mostly aimed at bot lane players looking to level up their play to the next level. I promise that by the time you reach the end of this video, you
probably
will
have some examples
of what you need to do to get.
Think. Did I freeze today, chat?
The first thing I want to touch on is mentality, as I now believe good mental is the most important skill in League of Legends, both for your well-being and elo. Trust me when I say this. 99% of times when people use chat, it is to reflect on things that have already happened and vent their feelings. Most
Yeah,
of the
I agree
times
with
by
this.
flaming. For this reason, I recommend playing with chat off or getting into the habit of instantly muting someone when they project any
Chat off is
negativity,
good, yeah.
because we don't want them to impact our mental state. Change your expectations. Don't expect your teammates to play well. Bard Q? Question mark? Broken Blade, an ex-teammate of mine once told me, tilt happens when expectations don't meet reality. And it couldn't have been more true. People in League, sadly, usually expect to win if they play good.
Advanced course on wave management.
But we know this is not always the case in League of Legends. This is why we need to shift from trying to win the game to, did I play good this game? Or did I play better than my counterpart?
I think thinking you played better than your counterpart, I think that's really useless. I think that, honestly, that one I think is really, really useless. Because I've had that one, and I realized it's such a toxic mentality. Because you can always justify, you can always justify that you played better than the opponent. Unless he's like actually gapping you, which is like maybe 1 in 10 games. But the second thing is like, it doesn't really matter. Who cares if you play, like let's say enemy bot lane played a game that was 4 out of 10, right? If you played a 5 out of 10 game, are you happy about that? How the fuck are you happy about that? If the only thing you're looking at is, yeah, Timmy here is fucking dog shit, so I played better than him. But if you want to climb, you gotta play better than this, bro. So I don't like that mindset. For me, you should have the mindset of just like, did I play well? Like, what are my parameters of good play? When I watch better ADCs, can I play like how they play, you know?
9 monkeys in the lobby, and you are the only good player. Your team can only get 4 monkeys and a human.
It's kind of funny that he's talking about not using chat and then he's like flaming his jungler.
And enemy team will always have 5 monkeys. So they have a higher chance... They have a higher collective chance of an individual monkey solo losing the game.
That's somewhere ironic, actually.
This is why, on a scale big enough, players
Can
usually...
you reset the video like 10 seconds? Is this wave pushing or bounce back? What? You mean the mid wave? This wave will push. Because this cannon will die first. But who the fuck cares about a mid wave? And it's also, it looks like there's only 2 casters here. Or I don't know. It looks like there's only, or maybe these 2 casters are on top of each other.
Let's say there's a human monkey game, or...
Yeah, there were only 2 casters, so the blue side minions will push.
5 individual player. You're gonna need a good PC. And by that I mean probably a really good CPU, because League of Legends is a CPU.
Yeah, after you start going mid, there's no wave management. You just push.
At least. And obviously a monitor that supports that.
Okay, ADC settings, let's see.
Unless your game to run very well first. Secondly, I also advise you to up your DPI. Personally, I started playing on 800 and went all the way up to 1800 because I just realized that there's no, like, my hand just couldn't move that fast to do all the clicks that I needed to do. I don't feel...
Really, I play on 800 DPI 15 game, and I think that's more than enough for me. I think lower DPI is better for your wrist health. So yeah, I don't think you need to play with high DPI. I think, especially if you're a casual player, just play with whatever feels good. But I'd recommend not playing with too high DPI, because I think that can really fuck with your wrist. Because the thing is, so the reason for that is because when your wrist does a big movement, this is fine for the wrist. But when you do tiny micro movements, very, very tough. Higher DPI is healthier for your wrist, by the way. Gilius, how can you say this?
Feel a bit weird.
No, it's not.
For comparison, in CSGO, most players are around 800 to 1000 DPI.
When you move your full elbow,
you know, like you only need to kind of just
it's not a fact, bro.
And you're already kind
it's literally not a fact.
But in League, you need to, like, you know, choose here, E backwards, dodge a hook, and your mouse just has to be moving across the, you know, the entire screen, or move your map, you know. So we want to have fast DPI. For that reason. Alright, for some key bindings. So first of all, I recommend playing with everything on quick cast, and the most important key bind here for AD carry will be your player attack move click. I prefer this one. The first one, player attack move click. What is that?
You need less movement of mouse.
Right, my cursor is here, and now I press A, cast an auto attack. Same on minions, you know. A auto attack, you know. So that's what A does. Personally, I mean, you can go ahead with any of the 3. But I like this one the most. I'll explain why in a second. So this one I think is really good because when you have high attack speed, you only need to do click. The other ones are, for example...
Player attack move click, I like that one, yeah.
This one, you need to do... Sorry, this one is... need to confirm your A click, you know? So that's two inputs.
I mean, for your wrist, okay, so just think of it this way, Gillis. If you move your full arm, right? What is my wrist doing right now? It's doing nothing, right? My wrist is doing nothing. But if I'm moving my wrist like this, my wrist is doing so much. Holy shit, my wrist is doing so much. And our wrist is the muscle that is like weak, you know? And this is where people get like injuries. I don't think many people get like, I mean, I guess you could get like shoulder injury or something, right? But I don't think people get that.
Of one, so when you have high attack speed, that's just not going to be possible to do. So that's why I prefer to have this one. Also, one really important thing to do is have in-game.
I mean, I have a strong wrist, right? Because I go gym. So for me, it's probably fine regardless. But most gamers are fragile like sticks.
See how this... So right now, I'm gonna aim on this behind. I'm aim on this thingy. What, fuck, I forgot what it's called. Doesn't matter. I'll aim on it and misclick, and I hit this one. Even though I misclick this one just by a little bit, right? Because this is the first thing. This is the closest thing to me.
Okay, yeah. Attack move on cursor is good. It's good, yeah.
Cursor, your game will attack whatever is the closest to your cursor. And what this means
We're not in queue. I want to watch this and react to this, and then I think I'm gonna hop off and go to bed. Or like lay in bed.
When you
I feel like shit.
And you happen to misclick the enemy champion just by a little bit.
Yeah, this is good. Good setting. Good settings so far. Let's see what else is the other.
That's pretty good. Alright, not many people know about this. Heavily recommended. Alright, so one thing that I see a lot of people do is play with treat target champions only as a toggle or target champions only, right? And what this does is right now.
Yeah, it's good.
And can you please go into the wave? Hello, go into the wave. It's super easy to click on the enemy champion wave because I cannot select the minions, right?
I don't use this because I'm stupid. I should use this. But I just never got used to it, and at this point it's like whatever. But I should use it. It's very useful.
Enemy champion. And while this does seem very convenient at first, I actually don't recommend playing with it because you will eventually just lose your precision. And
he doesn't recommend playing with it?
Then you will start misclicking in team fights, you know?
What? I don't agree with this at all. You still need to click on the champions.
Convenient and first, I actually don't recommend playing with it because
I would get it if you could attack move with it, because then you could just like not click on people.
Just lose your precision, and
but you still need to click on top of champs.
Team fights, you know. And yeah, I just don't recommend playing with it because you will just get lazy. So I just recommend being precise on your clicks and not playing with this option.
Yeah, that's so cope. That's so stupid. I don't agree with that at all.
For gameplay, the most...
I don't use it because I'm lazy. I think most pro players are just not used to using it, but it's for sure a good setting tab. It's for sure a good setting tab.
For an AD carry is consistency. And I'm gonna show you the tools and ways which I used.
Bro, why is he typing in every clip he has in the video?
Developed to reach a consistent level of play, or somewhat consistent. And I'm gonna show you a bunch of good habits that if you implement, I promise that you will see yourself improving. So first of all,
okay, let's hear.
Remove all distractions, no music, no alt tabbing, no TikTok brain rot during game.
I agree with that. Just music, I think, can be fine. I play with music always. I'm not gonna play League without music. I'd rather kill myself in game. That shit is so boring. For me, music is half of the reason I enjoy League, because I can just vibe to something.
Unless your house is on fire or something. And always, I cannot stress this enough, always have an objective in your head that you're playing.
Imagine my top laner is 0-10 and I'm sitting there in silence, bro. We're just sitting there like this. Yeah, I'm gonna enjoy that, I think. No, I'm gonna play with music.
Should always be something in your head that you are consciously playing for. And this doesn't mean, oh Drake, oh Tower, oh Nash. This is like little things like, how am I gonna play level 1? How am I gonna deny this cannon? Invading enemy jungle, tower diving. Even CSing is like a mini objective, like I'm gonna last at this minion. Like you always wanna have your focus on something. At least that's how I play.
I agree.
And that's how I play well. If I have that one thing in my mind that I'm consciously focusing on achieving at every given moment of the game. Another habit that I found very useful for me as I was learning League of Legends was to record my games. And I think for AD carry, it's very good to look at your own deaths and try and figure out why it is that I died. Look at the map state, look at my teammates, look at enemies' items.
Yeah, looking at deaths is like the easiest thing, for sure. I think sometimes you don't even need the replay. you should, I think always when you die, you should have some idea like what did you do wrong or what the fuck happened. And if you don't, then the replay is very useful. But if you already know, you don't really need to look at the replay.
Enemies' positions and think to yourself, try and critically think, what is the mistake that caused me to die here? You know, like that's how you can see it. Because when you're playing AD carry, like dying, especially getting caught or dying on mid waves, is always going to be
12, 11 victory. Yeah, let's review that.
This is a tool that all pro players use extensively.
Visualization,
Faker
okay.
once said in an interview, like 7 years ago or something, that 80% of his daily thoughts are League of Legends. What this means is that when he's taking a dump or he's eating, he's thinking about matchups, he's thinking about champions, he's thinking about items, he's always trying to visualize what would happen if. So you obviously don't need to go to such extremes, but what I wanted to highlight is that League of Legends is essentially a game where you are trying to predict what should happen or what will happen in a given scenario. And that's why you want to know the strong points of every champion and their weaknesses in your head. And as soon as you lock in a champion and you see your matchup, you should be able to visualize how your early lane goes, how the team fights look in this case, and just overall what that means for the game. I will give you an example in the following clip. So
for me, just this is how I view it. I mean, I view it similarly, right? But how I view it and teach it, I think is like pretty clear. It's like you should think about who gets push and how each side wins trades. That's like the easiest, I think. So for example, in this lane, Ashe and Nautilus get push, right? They're way stronger. And the only way Aphelios Bard win trades is if they're playing behind minions, so Nautilus can't hook, and then it's 2v1, right? Because both the Aphelios and Bard can auto, while Nautilus can't do anything. But if it's ever 2v2, they always lose.
Aphelios Bard into Ashe Nautilus.
It's also barrier cleanse gap, right?
And my champion, I know that Aphelios level 1 is extremely weak, Ashe level 1 is extremely strong.
Yeah.
Nautilus level 1, he can initiate the fight. Bard level 1, pretty dog, right? Compared, like, if his AD carry is way weaker, which is Aphelios versus Ashe. And they also have a summoner.
So then you should think about, like, cheesing level 1 and how can you gracefully lose push.
Spell advantage. I have cleanse that is useless in a fight, and they have barrier. And they also have lethal tempo that's stronger in an all-in than PTA that I have, right? So this screams that level 1 fight, we hard lose. So I already, going into this lane matchup, I already know that I can't fight whatsoever. So I will show you what I will do right now, right? Walking up with the wave.
I hope he wards this push.
Right now, if I didn't see the enemy bot lane,
they're already showing
spot themselves on the wave here, what I would do
they should cheese the bush.
I would drop a ward here.
Yeah,
and
that's good.
I would do it while being covered by my minions. Because oh, what the fuck? Okay, doesn't matter. Because now we have the coverage of minions here. Nautilus hook can go through, so we will ward here. If they're in the bush, we can trade some autos, and Nautilus can hook us, and then we walk back, right? But in general,
how do you gracefully lose push, pretend to fight for 2 and let them push? Typically, you just don't hit the wave too much. That's usually how you gracefully lose push. You just try to last it. Like, the biggest mistake that people do level 1 when they lose push is they start hitting these fucking minions. Bro, if you hard lose level 1 and you're playing at a point where, enemy team is actually human, don't hit these minions. Don't. If you're playing in, like, gold, plat, emerald, probably you can get away with hitting these minions because you might even get push, even in an unplayable matchup. But once you're diamond master, you hit these minions, you fuck your lane so hard. Because now, enemy can slow push so much slower. But if you don't touch these minions, most likely always in current season, it'll be a 2-wave crash. 2-wave crash for you, big chilling.
I'm not hitting the wave for no reason. If I hit the wave, it's for a reason. But right now, I'm trying to posture myself a little bit up because this Nautilus...
And he's looking to cheese autos, yeah. This is good.
Yet. If Nautilus was here, I would not be here.
Yeah.
As you can see, I'm walking up a bit to maybe signal to the enemy AD carry that I want to push or something. And every hit that the enemy AD carry does on the wave right now is actually not that good for them.
I think simpler here would be you just try to look for free auto attacks on them. I don't think you're signaling shit. I mean, that you would signal playing for push if you pushed.
It's making the wave push faster to us. And if the wave is in the middle, they can always look to all in as level 1, right? So look at how Look at how I woke up, hit maybe a little bit. I can hit a little bit because I see that he is pushing very hard. If he wasn't pushing at all,
if he's not pushing, you don't hit. Yeah,
either. But
you can kind of match.
Still keep in mind that I know no matter what, I can't get hooked, and no matter what, I don't want to take a fight here.
Yep.
So I'm gonna see if I can grab this minion. I can grab it nice. See how the second Nautilus pressures me from the bush, I'm pooping my pants and running to Africa.
I think you should also mention that he's pinging here. Like a ton of people don't do this. Is really, really important. Because there is a 50% chance, chat. 50% chance that this bard is not human. So if you don't tell him exactly what to do, he's gonna run into this bush, try to auto-attack the Nautilus if we don't ping him. So really, really important that you ping what you think. If you think you're way weaker, ping back. If you think you're way stronger, ping forward. It's not rocket science.
So here, here's another concept that I will discuss later in the video, which is like the concept of lines and why this hook on my support here doesn't really matter too much. But I will touch that. I will touch on that later. Why winning matchup matters. Okay. This is because if you are winning your lane, generally this means you have push.
One last question regarding level 1 cheats. Don't Ashe not win level 1 if not tips Q after Bard Q if feels are poked, don't you just hard lose?
For example, Samira Leona.
I have no clue what you just typed.
They're pretty useless level 1, but level 3 they can...
Ashe not hard win, yeah? If that's what you typed, I don't get it.
So when you are winning your lane, you are the one who decides what you do. Be that invading, doing a Drake, freezing a wave, anything really. The losing side just has to react to that.
Mention poking them level 1. Ah, yeah, behind minions. You know, looking. What I mean is like looking for one auto attack on Aphelios.
As you can see on the picture,
but you don't fight them
right now. The games where I individually have a 2-kill lead in 10 minutes this season has me winning 80% of my games.
Is the quality bad or
is just 60% of a Grandmaster player. This is because it's much easier to, in general, to carry if you.
The Ashe and Nod didn't play the best
that's what I will look to.
They should have been cheesing in the bush and they shouldn't push.
This guide, how I accomplished to do that and how you can too. Why level 2 is OP. How you play the first 2 waves on bot lane is extremely crucial in how the rest of the game goes for you. Because usually, whichever side gets level 2 first starts winning the early game. Yeah. And can snowball that into a very big advantage down the line. That's why I will put great emphasis on how I
level
play
2 power spike, baby!
In most cases and provide some examples. So another thing that I want to talk about is level 1 invading or get...
Wait, he's not gonna talk more about it?
Invaded?
He legit just said level 2 power spike. I thought he would talk about like how you
believe that
play the level 1 2.
Level 1 because I think in most of your games that you play, the game will start with 0-0 scoreline, everyone going to their own lanes, and everyone starting in their lane on time. And this is the scenario that I always visualize in my head. So while yes, invading can potentially give you an unfair advantage if you kill someone, you know, it can kind of mess up the game, and it will make the game like troll-ish and like more chaotic. And I don't think that's a good way for me to improve, because I want to have the game as predictable as possible for myself. So for that reason, in solo queue, unless my whole team is invading and they force me to go, I will not go. And every single time the enemy has invade champions, I will just do the following. Like, see this game, they have Ivern Nautilus, and I know they are elo hungry.
I don't agree with his mindset here. I think it's just about champs, you know? Like, if you play strong level 1 champ, you should be quite down to invade. If you play Victor or Aphelios, then yeah, don't invade. But I don't think, like, champs play differently and want different things. So you shouldn't have the mindset of a player, whether or not invading is good. It should just be your champion, what it wants.
Agree. So I will pink every entrance because...
Like, if my mid laner is playing Sylas, and he says, no, I just don't like invading. I'm like, but you picked Sylas. You play to Sylas. You don't play what you want to do. You do what Sylas wants to do.
I also don't want my teammates to die for free. And look how I will stand. Most players nowadays, or in general, will stand here. And this is where you can easily die. If against the hook champ, you don't stand here.
Yeah.
You stand here where I do. One thing, some players will be like, oh, but what if they go through here after Tribush? No one. I have not seen this done one single time in my entire life in solo queue. If enemy invades you through Tribush, they always go through here. Always.
True.
Always.
True.
You know? And why it's nice to sit here like I do is because you actually do not risk even blowing your flash when you spot them, because you can instantly hide behind the wall. Like, you see how fast this Nautilus even appeared on my vision and instantly hooked me?
This Nautilus played it well. Very fast reaction.
You know? Like, that's actually kind of like, he just spawned there, you know what I mean? But I still am able to just do this and get out, and we don't lose anything, and I actually get mana flow. So, mana flow...
To be fair, if the Iron Q hits, I think he's dead, but...
The first strike proc. Let's actually start with the
or at least he loses flash.
When level 1, you are losing. How do I know that I'm losing this matchup? Aphelios Zillion versus Ashlulu. Well, it's from experience and visualization, right? So I know we are much weaker. So in the case of me being much weaker, there's only one thing to do. And that thing is to cover. See if they invade your jungle level 1. And that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that we're just going to have to be fine with giving push and focusing on hitting minions and like losing as gracefully as possible.
Yeah.
Right? As I said, if you are losing, there's not many options that you have. All right. Another example. This time we're playing Corki, Vel'Koz into Ash Nautilus. Again, they have...
Wait, what? He's going to go over it or no?
They have a lot of kill pressure with Hook.
I'm a bit confused at certain parts of this video. Like, what was that? I thought he would show the lane.
The enemy with stronger matchups. So now it's time to see how I will get fisted or won't. Let's see. So again, as you can see, since we're losing level 1, I was just covering super defensively because I don't want.
Okay, yeah. Enough about the invades. Let's see some laning phase.
Which essentially means do not contest, play safe, play defensively. I am walking with the wave.
Yeah.
Because I'm afraid Nautilus could be here, and what right now is crucial for us to do is we actually have to take a fight if they're both here and they have sweeper. Because what you don't want to happen is that you ward his lane, they are here, they sweep the ward, and then what? You are zoned, you know? So what is crucial here is you actually take a fight, small fight with your minions in this minion wave. So that is the plan. Let's see what ends up happening.
For me, I feel like maybe an easier way to understand this is to just think about like champion win cons. Like, how does Nautilus win a trade, chat? It's super intuitive, right? It's that he hooks you. So if you're trading in your minions and he can't hook you, well, then Nautilus can't win. So then bot lane can't win. Simple.
See actually how I also pinked here? Because I'm also thinking they could try and cheese us from behind. Not many people do this because not many people have an 80% of winning games when they're ahead, and they're not as good as I am at getting ahead, but, you know, as you can see, they are in here.
A little self-glaze, I like it.
I will walk up, I will place the ward, and now I want to take a fight, because right now, the advantage in this fight that we have is these minions, you know? And if they fight us right now, what this actually accomplishes us, is we can maybe even kill them, even in a weaker matchup, just because of the minion advantage.
Yep.
And if it's just a short trait, these minions will aggro onto the enemy, which means they will not aggro onto the wave, which also means this will push faster to me.
True.
And why this pushing faster to me is good, because the closer the enemy wave is to my tower, the happier we are, because we can always get all-in, right? So let's see how this play goes.
Vel'Koz is a bit too far back.
They decide to hit the ward because they know that they don't want us to have this bush warded. So they're like, oh, the ward is there, we need to attack it. But if I see them attacking the ward, what that tells me is I will attack you because you're attacking my ward.
Yeah.
So at this point, I already got 2 autos and a Q on Ashe. She got 0 autos because she went for the ward. And that's a good trait. And she hit my wave. And my wave is not hitting the enemy wave, right? Now I get hooked. And if you get hooked in normal conditions in this matchup,
it will be pretty bad, yeah.
You will lose the game, you will lose your lane. But since I
return
have conditions that were favorable for me, this is actually good for me. Cleanse the Ignite. Keep hitting Ashe. Vel'Koz is helping me. Now I'm hitting the closest target to me because Ashe can no longer join the fight. She's too low. Nautilus flashes out.
I do wonder
Keep
though
hitting
here.
Ashe. Favorable for me. This is actually good for me.
I don't know why Ashe clicks back.
Conditions
I think if Ashe plays better when he gets hooked, it should be bad. But
that were favorable for me. This is actually good for me. Cleanse the Ignite. Keep hitting Ashe. Vel'Koz is helping me. Now I'm hitting the closest target to me because Ashe can no longer join the fight. She's too low. Nautilus flashes out. My guy gets hooked. So what it is right now, we back off. We use our spells, we miss them, we have nothing else. We back off. I ping him.
bro, the audible gulp, I need a replay on that, bro.
Join the fight, she's too low. Nautilus flashes out.
Bro, that's me when my support does some stupid ass shit like that.
My guy gets hooked.
Like, he can't even bother you, bro. He doesn't even know what to say. He's speechless.
So
He's speechless, bro.
Right now, we back off. We use our spells, we miss them, we have nothing else. We back off.
My
I ping him to back
guy
off, but
gets
he went a
hooked.
bit too far, so my support trolls me here. But we already had a wave state where we got a big advantage in a very, very hard losing lane.
My guy gets
simply
hooked.
because I played the best way I could. And I knew, I already had the vision in my mind how the level 1 could go because I had visualized it before.
Holy, the visualization.
My Vel'Koz dies. I'm trying to not walk up to Nautilus because they can always turn on me if he just autos me to root me, right? But here I also know they use a lot, so I can be a bit cocky.
Yeah, cocky movement. Let's see it. Nice, good cue.
See, got the double hit. I also know that I have a cookie. And I'm going to try to...
I don't know if we want to talk about cookie, bro.
I'm going to try to not let them push out this wave. I end up having to waste my flash, but my goal here is to not give them a free push out because I still have resources to fight. That's my goal. So, yeah, I lost my flash, but they weren't pushing the wave this whole time. Now my Vel'Koz is back. My Diego is coming.
Oh, yeah.
And they have no summoners. Or I think the Ashe...
Bro, why was there a cookie icon? I saw that.
Use one of her Sams, so I don't want them to get this push out. Okay, Nautilus uses hook, W forward, and I get a kill.
Okay, we could clean up the examples a little bit more because you kind of lost me. I feel like the point was that you ward level 1, no? And trade with them.
To highlight how, like, even in a losing matchup, you can still play very well reactively and essentially know how you want to defend yourself. Let's now look at what we can do when we have hard winning level 1, which we do have this game. Keep in mind, I said no level 1 invades. However, this is not a level 1 invade. I'm not running top lane to cheese a kill. This is a guaranteed outcome that I will have in my lane, assuming that I know the strengths of my champions, and that is being matched.
I mean, I think he's not bad at speaking.
So
I think just he should have a clear, like, the thing is, what I think about always is, like, when you have a clip, you need to be really clear the one thing that you want to teach in that clip, you know?
Yeah.
You don't teach everything in one clip. That's too much. Unless it's like a coaching session, you know? Then you can just yep.
We're playing Ashe Karma into Bard Ezreal.
But I don't think the video is bad. I think it has good info.
And we are getting level 1 position. If you're playing champions, if you're playing ranged champions, or if you're winning level 1 in general, getting level 1 position in lane is super crucial because this is actually what...
Definitely having more editing and having, like...
in a favor...
Like some text on the screen or something on the screen would help.
To A, get a good trade, B, be in a good position...
But it's not a bad start, chat. This is like one of his first educational videos. It's not a bad start at all.
Play the wave how you want, and C, get level 2 first, you know? So we are much stronger here. My Tryndamere is in their jungle, doesn't matter. This is what we would do. See, we try and throw our spells, see if it lands on anyone, because usually there is one guy covering, which is really troll, because right now you're either losing your flash or you're dead, right? You might be concerned that the whole enemy team 5 people are there. This is why you can...
Are you giving us foundation knowledge?
Usually that never happens.
We will foundationalize.
And if you're afraid of that happening, you could ward right now. And if you spot 5 people there, well, they're all chunked because of your spells. And you just run back, and their level 1s are fucked everywhere.
Okay, you kind of lost me. There can be 5 people in this bush? Is that what he's saying?
If you're afraid of that happening, you could ward right now. And if you spot 5 people there, well, they're all everywhere.
It's fine. There are not 5 people
And
there.
as I'm
That's
playing,
really weird.
act stronger because we have Summoner Spell advantage. They have Cleanse. That doesn't do anything level 1. And we have 1 extra Summoner Spell. We are stronger. We have Lethal Tempo. He is Conqueror. In this case of being this much stronger, what you can do is wait in this bush. Or if you are blue side, wait in this bush. And you wait for them to approach the minions. And then you come from behind and you all in them.
That's it. My schizophrenic ass never tried that now.
Guys,
there could be 5 people in the bush. I'm never cheesing in bot again because there could be 5 people in the bot bush.
The enemy bot lane decides to face check this bush right now.
Oh, noobs. Well, he just started recalling. Wait, why did he start recalling? Look, he started recalling. Sorry, I can't focus. Sorry. That was so random.
Loses a flash.
That's the ultimate BM.
See, that's already a win. This is the same thing with Tryndamere being here doesn't play a part. Whether he was here or not, same thing would have happened.
Yeah, I agree.
I didn't call him. He just wanted to be here really badly, so he was. I'm still gonna stand here because, you know, maybe they still woke up to the wave. Reason why they don't woke up, which doesn't happen in this case. And the reason why they don't woke up to the wave is because Bard is really delayed, and Ezreal might be afraid that we are
cheesing,
sitting in this bush right here.
Yeah.
So he is at the moment just hugging his tower. So what you can do at this point when the enemy bot lane, you know they won't walk up to the wave, is
Ezreal,
run out a bit faster, fast enough so you can be here when these minions are dying. Because what you can accomplish now is you can actually, since you're stronger 2v2, they will have to run under a tower, which means you will get the EXP of these minions, even if you don't get lasted, but they will not get nor the gold nor the EXP. And this is going to create a huge lead early in the game because their level 2 will be greatly delayed. So in this lane, if they hadn't face checked level 1, they were both here and here, we would have gotten a kill. And if they are respecting, then we can take a fight here because we're so much stronger and zone them from these minions. But in this case, I fucked up because I left the bush too late.
Yeah, he's gonna lose XP now.
So I do think that I actually end up losing some of these minions here, if I remember correctly. Let's see.
He loses all of them, maybe. No, he gets.
See, he can only
gets
run,
1 or 2, I think.
Got 1 EXP. But here, you should be able to get all the EXP of the minions while the enemy gets zoned. And that is the worst case scenario. That is the worst case for you. The best case for you.
What's better? Such scores are advanced speed D175 Alpine left 8 years, but I'm backing on Emerald 1 right now.
Playing
advanced.
Karma versus Ash Trash. Now their level 1 is not so weak. Right?
Bard doesn't get chunk level 1 and both sides get lane. Doesn't have Bard have prior on the wave because we has push. Nah, Bard is so useless level 1.
This is
Karma
really
presses Mantra and your game is over.
That it's not very clear who wins level 1 and who doesn't. This word is really helpful for helping you obtain that level 1 push. So if the level 1 is contested, meaning both sides are pretty good level 1, so you know the level 1 can go.
Wait, what did he say? He said about Ward, no? Ward middle bush?
This is really good.
Yeah, warding middle bush is good down.
Your level 1
yep.
wards instantly. You will know whether they have warded or not, because if they had warded, you would have seen them ward at the same time. So now we know they are not there.
Yeah.
Okay, we do this face check. Maybe a little bit risky, but they will have to focus Karma, and if they focus,
that's fine.
Weak level 1 as well. So what do you see we accomplish here with Karma Ezreal, which is really important every time we play Karma Ezreal, or most of the times any double range bot, is to obtain level 1 position. And why level 1 position is crucial here, so I'm still respecting because I know they could.
Whenever you play double range bot chat and you have like strong spells level 1, like Karma Q, Ezreal Q, Seraph Q, you know, whatever the fuck you got, Caitlyn Q, what you want to do is you want to do like a cheese, but it's not like your standard cheese, right? It's just cheese. One person stands here, one person stands in the bush, and then you throw one spell, go out. So it's like a poking cheese.
Potentially be here, and I could get hooked or something, you know. So I'm paying respect to that scenario. Right now, I'm also thinking, oh shit, what if they had late invaded from mid lane, which is a viable strategy. People can do that, especially against Ezreal Karma, can be viable. So what I'm going to do is ping missing because they could potentially be here and stand behind. Because if you get map split on, sometimes the enemy team, the enemy bot side can grab red buff. They see that you are pushed up way too far in your wave. If I'm here and Karma is here, they can see that and they can run from behind and just redeem 2 quick free kills. So right now, I don't know whether they're just AFK or actually late invading. So
Yeah.
I ping my Karma to stand here to spot whether they're...
So Divide Cross update with Camins on the 4th wave? Yeah, I talk about the new waves.
That's why I ping Karma right now to stand here, and he will understand, I think.
But the TLDR of it is not very exciting. They just dumb down
now we see
wave
Ash
management.
Here, still a bit suspicious because they're 10 seconds late to the wave. But essentially, me being positioned here and Karma being positioned here is that if they actually were to come from here, I can throw a spell on them and run back. Karma can throw a spell on them and run back, you know? So we are still very safe. So now they still could have late invaded, but they chose very safe path. So I am right now not really pressuring, and I'm trying to wait to get a confirmation on the enemy jungler, which I think we will get soon.
Are you doing champ specific guys this season?
In the case that they didn't map split, we already have position.
Maybe? We'll see.
Hello?
Thank you, Moku for the 7 months.
In the case where they haven't map split,
I'm definitely down to more educational content after February challenge over.
If they're walking and hugging this side of the wave, I can hit them with a skill shot. If they're hugging this side of the wave, Karma can hit a skill shot. And in this position, we already pretty much have a level 2 first guaranteed if you play well. So this is another thing in a slightly different game, slightly different example. Another example is this time with a melee support, right? Both sides are pretty strong level 1.
I thought you said at least support, but you said melee.
We did see Braum appear on
melee
That's
support.
Why we're jumping in right now. See, if I was a bit faster, or if RLW landed, Corki, again, we get an advantage. This time the trigger was Braum appearing on mid lane, which wasn't seen in the video, but...
When you take PTA and when lethal tempo on Varus Tristash?
Now look.
Just go PTA on Tristana when they're not that tanky, but got lethal tempo every game on Varus Tristash.
And mana flow, you know, and then run back. Which is what I do. Now we get lane position. Again, lane position is already favorable for us to race for level 2. My champion being pretty strong level 1, but they're also not to be underestimated because they have Braum, right? So also pretty strong level 1. So I'm gonna start up by stacking up some passive. See, I'm pushing. Both sides are pushing because both sides want to get level 2 if they can. Ezreal is really strong at this moment.
The course can change the wave crashes from a 3rd, 4th wave.
Really strong if you
Essentially, the old content is there, but there's like an updated video talking about what changed with the new waves.
To win your lane by perma queuing, perma getting Q passive.
Varus is higher win rate diamond plus on low lytics with PTA. I don't care.
So as you can see, both sides are racing. Corki uses Q on the wave.
Then go PTA if you want to.
You know, if he uses a spell on the wave to clear, that signals to us we can instantly all in because they like a spell. But Realm is W, so we just retrieve. But already at this point, I know that I'm getting level 2 first. And here, Corki decides to trade into me when I have 5 passive stacks up and Conqueror stacked. So here, I'm like, this is controlled by them, we can fight, right? So I'm gonna extend this fight. Can just walk up 1v2, Corki has no spell. Rel flash W's the wrong target. That can sometimes happen. But I still end up getting first blood and Corki flashes.
Yeah,
so I save my flash, I get first blood.
The Rel W is really bad.
But this is, you know, this is an example of just how a different level 1 could go.
You kind of lost me with this example, to be honest, though. I don't know. I didn't get what this example was.
I'm going to quickly touch on this subject as well. So while mages bot are usually pretty annoying to play against because by default, by design, they counter AD carries, there are a few things that you can do. And the best thing you can do is...
Have to use mages on bot lane, kind of boring, no? You just play for... Against mages, just dodge their skill shots and play for push and don't sit on the wave. Let's see, same line concept. This sounds interesting.
So another concept that I want to talk about is playing the line, as some call it, you know? Like,
I've never heard of this. I mean, I think I've heard of it, but that is not what I use. So I'm interested to see what he explains here.
Like, see how... Imagine there's a line between us like this.
Yeah.
You know, essentially what the line means is that we are both doing the same thing at the same time.
Like you don't like Neon at all? Neutral. I don't know the guy. I think this video is fine. It could be better, it could be worse.
If my support clicks forward, I click
So I just talk about what I think is bad and what I think is good.
If my support runs backwards, I run backwards. You know?
Okay,
so,
yeah.
Let's see. See how I'm running forward?
I like the triangle one more. But this line idea is fine too.
As my support is running forward. And now enemy Soraka breaks the line and she runs into essentially both of us, because now we are both in range to attack him. And the enemy, Ashe, is, you know, is here.
I love like the two people make a triangle. It's not two people, it's three. The idea is that whenever you can make a triangle, you win. So in bot lane, I mean, the thing is, it's really simple, right? You always want to trade 2v1 and never 1v2. So when you can always make a triangle like this, and you see Ashe cannot auto attack, like Ashe and Soraka can make a triangle on Thresh, but Thresh dies much slower than Soraka. So
we can both go on the Soraka first, and this is why we're gonna now get a favorable.
Isn't it called like parallel laning?
So let's see.
Probably you can call it whatever the fuck you want.
See, it's a pretty good trade already.
You can use lines like this, you can use triangles. At the end of the day, they're all fictional, made-up concepts. The end of the day, what you just need to think about is that you're playing in the same space as your support, and that you're always trading on the same targets.
Now, they are playing the line, we are playing the line. You know,
holy,
and we are both
line gamers,
carry, but they can also both go on me at the same time. So now it's going to be a little bit more close.
Okay, so then let's see it, chat. Let's see if we can figure this one out. Where should Corki click in this trade? Where should he click? Any guessers? Where should he click? There's two options that are good. So either the idea should always be like this, okay? So let's say you want to trade on Ashe. If he wants to trade on Ashe, where should he click? He should click here. This way, he can still be in range to hit Ashe, but he's further away from Soraka. If they want to all in on Soraka, then he should click this way, because then he's further away from Soraka, further away from Ashe, but you can still hit Soraka. So you should always, when you're in a trade, you should think about how can you position yourself further away from the guy you're not hitting, while still being in range of the other guy. What you really don't want to do is you don't want to click here or here. This is always going to be terrible. Terrible. Because you want to be max range of the guy that you're hitting and out of range of the guy that you're not hitting.
The trade. Okay.
You can see they just kind of lose, so he just clicks back.
See, they have Ashe, so she's...
But you see how he's like out of range of Soraka? Like imagine here...
more close.
If he doesn't click away from Soraka, it would be like full disaster, you know? But he's not giving Soraka any autos, and then now, when Soraka is so far away, well now, they can make the triangle. The triangle! So now, they can both hit the Ashe. Although good spacing there by Ashe.
They have Ashe, so she's pretty strong level 1. But at this whole time, like, both sides are just trying to do the same thing, while not allowing the enemy support to engage on them. So
then, for example, here again, as Corki, you'd want to click up in this space, so you're further away from Soraka, but you can still hit the Ashe, you know? And then you want your Thresh to, like, flash flay. That would be, like, ideal. I feel like the line kind of misses a little bit of the nuance, maybe?
I'm trying to turn on this guy with my guy, and they're also trying to go on me like this, you know? So let's see.
Can I cross the line?
And eventually we get a kill, because...
You see, like, they did kill him, right? But, for example, here, it's like... You'd want to be further up here, so that Soraka... Like, look how many auto attacks Soraka does on him, right?
So let's see.
Because here, now, Soraka does an auto. And he does click in the right place, but Soraka is fully juiced up with her passive, so she's so fast, right? So you can't really do it.
And eventually we get a kill, because my Thresh gets...
It's a good flash play by Thresh.
Carry, while both enemy AD carry and enemy support were hitting me. So this is an example of how both sides played, you know, somewhat together. So another concept that I want to quickly touch upon is how you actually increase your chances of dodging hooks the most. So
okay, let's see how to dodge hooks like a pro.
Dodging a hook, right? What you want to imagine in your mind every time there's a hook champion is a line in between you and them.
He likes his lines, huh? He likes his lines, huh?
And then a vertical line.
Holy fuck, that's a long Thresh hook.
On where your champion is standing. So in this case...
What? Is this how he dodges skill shots? I don't dodge skill shots like this at all.
It is like this, a vertical line, right? Now, the clicks that you want to do to dodge this hook is anywhere on this line. Let me change the color. So you want to be clicking here or here. And why that is because if you're making these clicks, your champion will clear this line the fastest by going in this vertical plane. If you click here, or if you click here, or here, or here, or anywhere that is not in this vertical line.
Yeah, you don't want to click away from the skill shot unless you're at max range of the skill shot, in which case you can walk out of it, right? Because any movement that is away from the skill shot is wasted movement.
You are actually not clearing you from the direct line the fastest.
So this is a good way to visualize it. I don't know if maybe people can do this. I could not visualize something like this in my head in game. I would just think to myself, like, if I'm not max range of the hook, I need to dodge really sharply to the right or to the left.
So let's see. Lulu did that. Good job, Lulu. Alright, so another concept that I want to explain to you is faking.
Really? I thought he was going to talk more about this. This was interesting, but okay.
Right? So in
Good
bot
job,
lane,
Lulu.
the fake that I do the most times is, as you can see, we just killed the enemy support. I have gold, and I'm low on HP, so it's reasonable for the enemy bot
Right or
lane
left,
to
but it
think
needs
that
to
I
be
want
perpendicular
base.
to the hook, yeah.
What I'm going to do to this guy is I'm
I
going
think
to
that's intuitive, even if you don't use the word perpendicular, right? It's like, if the hook is there, you understand that you're not going to move left or right, you know? Now left and right is up and down, you know? Surely we understand that. I feel like that's just intuitive.
show him that I am leaving here from his vision. He will see me going here. So he's gonna think that I'm probably
But
basing
the hook
here.
is to the
But
salt,
what
that
I
is
will
a
actually
scripter and all
do
that more.
is,
Pretty
in
much,
no vision,
especially
I
when
will
I'm
go
dodging
into this bush,
perpendicularly.
do the fake
How the
into
fuck
bush
can you
on
hook
the
me? I was
right.
dodging perpendicularly.
And
I got scripted
would
for
have worked.
sure.
if my support didn't end, so let's see. See, now I pink to go into the bush. And many people will fall for this because they are playing on autopilot and they assume if you go there, that means that you can't be in this bush. And my support leaves because he sees the Rengar is in river. But what we would do if there was no Rengar in the river, I would just wait here. And when this guy walks up here for the next wave, my trash will just hex flash out of the bush on him and we will get his flash or we will kill him. So this is another concept that you can look to utilize. Sometimes people in high elo do this on mid waves too. Like this Talon can fake on enemy vision going into top side, and then he can make a loop around and go into bot side.
Yeah.
And Galio will be pinging that Talon is top, and he will not think that Talon goes bot, you know? Same concept. On the fake thing, you can also fake dive. What I mean by that is, look, we're
Fake
all running
dive,
into bot
okay.
side, we're gonna be diving bot lane. The enemy AD carry sees his support mid lane, so he should be afraid of getting dove here, right?
Yeah.
And what you want to do is look
This
at
is
me.
pretty high
I
low
stay
concept.
outside of the vision. I don't show myself on the tower. So what the enemy AD carry sees is a lone wave going into the tower. So he might think, oh, they're not diving me. And then he walks up for this wave. While as if I was in front of this wave, he's like, oh, why is he walking up like that? I'm getting dove. I'm gonna back off.
True, true.
See? Now it's like I'm fishing and I just pulled the bait out. And look, he's not on the wave. So he respects. But this is something that
You gotta be pretty dumb to fall for that, but I get what he means. It's not a bad thing
increases
to
your
do.
chances of being able to dive him.
It's not bad,
And
it's
you
not
don't
bad, it's
lose
not bad.
anything by doing it. Just don't be afraid to swap your lanes.
No.
For example, if you're AD carry, like me this game.
Bro, he
and
has
you're pretty
lanes?
fed.
Oh.
Like right now,
Oh, he doesn't mean we'll have a one lane swap.
if I lane swap into the Galio, he cannot play into me, right?
Okay,
So
okay,
I
okay.
should be
Fair
right
enough.
clicking mid lane right now and just swapping into Galio because there is no way he can do anything against me. Because he's a melee champ and he has most early in the game when you because if you're
Yeah,
behind,
you should be willing
can't
to
be
go mid and
exploited on
top.
mid lane.
Let's see, how
And
long
if
is the
you're ahead-
second video? It's also 30 minutes? Oh my god. Actually, he's done a few educational videos.
Hey guys, Neon here, your favorite XLEC player,
Oh
two
my
times
god, he
ranked one,
upgraded
challenger every
mic.
year, bringing you a continuation of my previous guide. So if you haven't seen that, make sure to check it out first.
Let's
Leave
see
it
the
in comments.
foundation slicing here.
Hi, so in this guide I'll be diving more into mid-game / late game decision making as well as touch onto itemization and drafting.
Okay.
I had some people ask about who the guide is for, like what type of player would elo, and I don't really see it like that. For me, it's kind of for everyone who wants to learn AD carry because that's how I learned. I learned by like watching better players play,
I
observing
think that
their...
video was very high-elo focused. Very high-elo focused. I think for a low-elo player, you'd get quite a little out of that, I'm afraid. Because the concepts were, one, very specific to high-elo. Two, they were like in-depth explanations.
thinking process and trying to figure out why they're doing what they're doing. So essentially, I think anyone can learn from me. So I want to quickly touch on builds because
Jack, after getting your course, I went from Emerald Stock to Instant Diamond and on my way to Masters right now. Oh my god, did you guys hear that? After getting my course, he instantly climbed?
I know for a fact that G2 is a very avid user of the site.
Yeah, Lolix is good.
Players and their coaches. So
I love
usually
Lolix.
You know, whichever champion I'm playing, I'm not sure what I want to build or if the build might have changed. I'll just go here.
Yeah.
Look at the items.
Yeah.
Consider the win rates. Not blind copy whatever they're building, but
you should consider it. Yeah.
Think why these items might be good. And
what should we focus as a low elo then? Well, we have a low elo course as well, but I mean, low elo, you just make it really simple. That's the thing, right? In low elo laning phase, just play for push. Once you have push, just slow push, trade 2v1, and like a lot of my videos I think go over it, but the thing is, like, for low elo, you just gotta make it real simple, real simple. There's not that much you need to think about when you're low elo. You said you don't care that Varus has higher win rate on PTA and Analytics? Well, you said Diamond Plus. Whenever someone says Diamond Plus, whenever someone doesn't use Emerald Plus, I instantly stop caring that much. But for me, it's like... you probably only... Yeah, okay, you didn't even look at the fucking sample size, bro. Don't even... Like, I can't focus with you people. How can you compare 75,000 game to 6,000 games? It's a 4% pick rate. And you had to go to Diamond Plus just to try to find an elo bracket where PTA had higher win rate, and it even has less pick rate. What is this, bro? What is this? Thank you, Bandino, for 48 months. Thank you, Bana. They're so fucking low. It's crazy.
They might be good, and you know. And another website that I use is...
Even 1,000 sample size is good.
www.com, where I look at the other pro players and what they're building.
But also, guys, when something has less pick rate, it usually will have higher win rate, because the most popular option is what Riot recommends in the fucking rune selector. It's what everybody will go. It's what the noobs will go. The people that personally select a different option will do so because they think they know something, or they know something that other people don't.
I think it's just like a lazy solution for people like myself, because I don't like to spend a lot of time thinking about builds. I like someone else to figure it out for me, and I will just copy their homework, you know, because I much rather focus on the gameplay. However, there's one thing with AD carry that I do encourage you to actively think about, and that is every time you want to look at the enemy champions, you want to look at your own champions, and think about damage.
When I watch someone, I can find mistakes and even my own votes, but can't really change my comms in game. What do you recommend for real life, like autopilling in every game? Just watch other people, and then you ask yourself, what are they doing that I'm not doing? What are they not doing that I'm doing? Write that down. Work on one of those things at a time.
Types, and what I mean by that is you want to look at how many AD champs you have on your
Knows that
team.
Triumph has by far the highest win rate on every champ in every elo compared to the other two options? Yes,
armor.
Triumph is very OP in solo queue. I talk about it a lot. I don't go press the mine on nearly any champ anymore. Triumph is OP.
AD carry is a role where your only purpose is to deal damage, and if the enemy builds armor and you do not have Last Whisper in a slot where you should have built it, you're not going to deal any damage. So I will usually look at my own team, look how many AD champs we have, then I will look on enemy team, look how many champs will build armor, because if they have frontline, if they have bruisers, if they have tanks, and they see that we are 75% AD, then they will for sure build
actually
armor.
Astral, I won't
I
press the
already
mind
know
down
before the game even starts that I will need Last Whisper on third. However, if there's a game where I have, for example, 2 AP champs, we have 2 AP champs, 2 AD champs, and enemy...
Guys, why are we buying Boots of Speed on Jhin? Look at the Boots of Speed on Jhin win rate. Why are people buying Boots of Speed on Jhin? So stupid, guys. Just don't buy that, and you have a 67% chance to win on Jhin.
Some bruisers...
That's legit you guys with stats.
Really
that's you guys with stats. You guys are terrorists with stats.
I know that I most likely don't need to go Last Whisper, because if they build armor, my team should, you know, do a lot of work.
Unreal.
So once again, I encourage you to think about if you will need Last Whisper in a given game. Drafting. So this really varies on the rank you are, but usually the lower rank you are, the less counter picks matter. It's because if you're in one of these ranks, you and everyone else makes too many mistakes for your champions to play a role. You will literally just win by mastering a champion that is easy to play mechanically. Mastering a champion will then make it far easier for you to learn other things because you do not need to think about how to play your champ.
I agree.
What I would recommend for you is to play these champs. Do not play these champs.
Okay, that was so fast, bro. I didn't. That's so fast. How am I supposed to see that? Caitlyn, MF, Jinx, Sivir, Jhin, Kai'Sa, Varus, Corki, Ashe, Kog'Maw. Okay.
Champs.
Do not play what?
Do not play these champs.
Yeah, I agree. I think you could also put Vayne on play these champs.
From these champs,
I think Vayne is good here. Vayne is always super good in low.
Pick 2 to 4, and you get really good at them. So, and for you guys above Platinum, you obviously need to put a little bit more emphasis on what champion you're playing, because you have to be playing a champion that you are good at, is a meta pick.
I mean, at the end of the day, you should just play what's fun, chat. Just play what's fun.
Is good into enemy champs, or is a good blind.
If you're bronze 3, but Aphelios is your favorite champ, play Aphelios.
In my mind of champions that I can play.
Should eventually get good at them, right?
This is very well.
You're enjoying
their
it.
best pairings, and just overall their plays, and I get a good feel for them. So, for example, on the 14.24 patch, which is the latest patch right now, that we have had for a while, my most played champions were as follows. Ezreal, I would pick when, you know, enemy had a lot of squishy champs. I had a good pairing like Karma, Leona.
Okay, very fast to text.
Or my support was a blind pick, Janna, Sona, you know, but mostly I was looking to not play against a lot of frontline, because Ezreal doesn't really do a lot of damage to that right now. Jinx, I would pick when my team needed DPS.
Bro, this font combo, or is it just, am I stupid? It's so hard to read. No, I need to pause. Needs frontline, Thresh, Lulu best pairings, DPS of enemy versus enemy frontline. Yeah.
Already had some
nah,
kind of
bro, there's something wrong with this text, man. Legit something wrong with this
like
text.
Thresh and Lulu. Very good option as well. Caitlyn on this patch was, I think, a pretty decent blind. Very good against low range comps. If enemy didn't have mages and a lot of poke, Caitlyn is almost always going to be good. If I have a good pairing, Bard or Lux, I will consider Caitlyn.
But this part is kind of useless, right? Because it's kind of outdated. Oh, he doesn't have timestamps in this one? Well, let's skip past.
Probably. And
what does enemy versus enemy frontline mean? He means both sides has tanks, I think.
I think Brand is also really good, because what I will do now is give you some examples of how I think in draft and how I choose a champion that I'm going to play this game, right? So
that's cool.
This is not going to
I was thinking about doing this sometime, but I never did it, I think.
Picks, because blind picks is pretty obvious, right? Like your first picking or second pick, and you don't really...
How's it outdated? I mean, it's from season 14, no? It was season 14. It's pretty outdated these days.
See 1 or 2 champions on enemy team, or you don't see any champion, so there's not much to say to that.
You said 14-20, I think.
Discuss scenarios where the enemy is already showing a bunch of champions, and how I make sure that the champion that I'm picking is decent against them and good with our champs, right? So looking at this first draft,
champ playstyle, he was talking about what champions to pick in the meta and why they're good in the meta right now. Like he said Brand, for example, and Brand is not good on bot lane anymore.
We have Zac, Zed, Neela. So Zac already says, if you have a dash, you're way better into Zac than if you don't, so that's a big plus. They have Zed. Zed is usually like, kind of don't really pick anything good against him, but if you can pick a champion, that's...
So if I were to pick champ here, so for example, for me, right, the champions that I would consider would be Tristana and Seri. And those are champs that I like want to play, that I'd be down to play, especially with Lulu, right? Those are the champs I think about. Then if my support wanted to play like Rakan, I would probably go Xayah, that would be nice, or maybe Kai'Sa. And if I played in lower elo, maybe Vayne would be nice. If I was like a Vayne player. Just anything with mobility. When you see these two champs, you need some mobility to be useful in the game.
That can build Ninja Tabai and has a little bit more health. That's a big plus, because suddenly he can no longer one-shot you, which...
But for example, I don't play Corki, so I wouldn't pick Corki, but you can play Corki.
You know, is a big
on Master Plus, do you think this matters, or you can just pick whatever? It matters somewhat. That's why I always recommend having 2 to 3 champions that you play, rather than just one tricking. So that when you're in this scenario, let's say you're like a, I don't know, let's say you're a Jhin one trick, right? If you pick Jin here, bro, you're playing, that's full CBT. That's full CBT. You don't want that. Like, that's gonna be very tough, right? You have nothing against Zac, you have nothing against Zed, Nyla can block your auto attacks. He can block your bullets, and then you gotta reload. So, and then you're playing with a Lulu Jin, you know? You're not happy with that. So, that's why it's good to have like a small champion pool at least, rather than just full one-trigging.
Ninja tab eye.
So that you have something to play with. What I recommend is like you have a champion to play with every type of support. So you have something with enchanters, something with engage, and something with mage supports. And then ideally as well, you have something that has mobility, so that when your enemy draft has something that you need mobility into, you can get that.
Nila, which is a champion that sucks against anything that casts spells. So anything that casts spells is good against Nila. So Corki is a spellcaster.
Hey,
really
Sterix.
the other two as well. So Corki
How you
here
doing,
is
brother?
perfect pick, and I actually ended up smurfing the game because I already like.
It's my
I'm really good
brother.
into the first 3 champs that they show, right? Pretty obvious.
Did you guys see Hysterix is my brother? Wait, let me find the clip.
Number 1. G2 found their way through game number 1. My name is Jackspektra, joined by Dagda Dagderson. Shout out to my brother on the analyst desk. Did a really good job today.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean,
You sound distinctly less Scandinavian, he does, though.
well, the thing is,
Yeah.
G2
That's so fucking good. That's so fucking random.
So, in this draft, I will consider my own champions on my team a little bit more because we have LeBlanc mid lane, which is an AP assassin that doesn't really have a lot of damage.
True.
Like DPS, he's like really good at killing one target and then not
I
having
don't
more
trust
damage.
my arms that
There's
much, I
Karma Jungle,
think.
which is a tank frontline, also doesn't have a lot of damage. So
He
in
is
this game,
Jackspektra, you're
I
a
know that we
prestige
need
K
something
draw.
that
Shut the
has
fuck
DPS.
up.
So here I would opt in for Jinx, or a just something that has good DPS.
Fair enough, yeah.
Because enemy also doesn't have champions like Zac or I don't know Nautilus or Ornn that would like make it hard for me to play. And even if they had stuff
I feel like Akshan makes it hard, so I would think about something with mobility here would be nice, but
like Nautilus, I have a Skarner to frontline for me, right? So that wouldn't even be that big of an issue here. All right, next draft. So we have Sejuani, AP, Soraka. Okay. Another draft. So what does enemy team have? Enemy team has a range support Zyra. Enemy team has Maokai, Echo. So they kind of have a lot of spells this game. And they have Ashe, which is a strong laning AD carry. So here I'm thinking, what can I pick to get pushed? Because if both...
last picking ADC is kind of crazy, you know? Holy shit, I don't think I've ever done that recently. Well, I would think here just Astral or Jhin. Just 2 picks. You want something with the range to be able to like hit them. And you also don't have an engaged support, so you can't really go something like Kai'Sa or something that goes in. You could go Zeri, but Seri, Ezreal, and Jhin for me are the picks that are possible. Because Seri Soraka is kind of nice. You can cheat the lane because you just have so much safety.
supports are double ranged, getting push on bot lane becomes
Nah, the bot matchup I think is too hard if you go Xayah.
extremely OP. And in this case, I'm considering Ezreal because Ezreal is pretty good here, but I actually end up going Sivir. I think both are good choices.
Oh, I
Both
forgot about Sivir. Sivir is not bad though.
are
But
somewhat
for example, I don't play much Sivir, so it didn't strike me as a champion to play there. I've thought of Seri, Sivir, very similar champions, very much do similar things. Just incredibly like hard to punish early game champions because they're so safe, and then scales up nicely.
good pairings with Soraka, and both are able to contest push if you play well. So here I'm either going Ezreal or Sivir. Alright, so in this draft, enemy has Zoe, Lux, Gragas, Vayne. And I'm gonna mostly pick a champion. Like any AD carry that you pick is always going to be good into Vayne, so we don't really care about Vayne here, but
I think this is a crazy good Lucian game. I would always want to try to go Lucian there, I think.
we care about the rest of their comp, what the whole comp wants to do. And in this game they have Zoe, Gragas, Lux, so they want to throw spells at you. So here if I were to look in a champion like Jinx, Aphelios, I'm just outranged because these champions suffer a lot into mages and all these champions.
Kate there? No, Kate's really bad. You really don't want to play Caitlyn or Jinx or feels like he said into outranging comps. You want to play champions in general. When you're outrange chat, you either need to match the range with something like a Jhin, or you need something with mobility to reach. Something like Ezreal, Lucian, Seri somewhat, Corki.
have have a gameplay like a mage. Well, they have 2 mages plus Gragas, and Gragas can like throw Q and ult from long range.
Kate is very
as a
nice
mage,
into
right?
Vayne,
So
of course, but
I want to pick either something that can help my team engage on them, which in this case would be Ashe, Jhin,
yeah.
Ashe, Jhin, or Varus. You also kind of outrange them because of Ashe ult, Ashe W, Jhin ult, Jhin W, way bigger range than their comp. And Varus as well has long range on his spells. We're talking about poke Varus here, by the way.
Yeah.
But I actually end up going Ezreal because Ezreal is also pretty good. If I play well, I can outrange them, I can dodge those kills, and they're all squishy, so I will deal a lot of damage.
Fair enough.
In my last guide, I showed you many ways to generate a lead for yourself. So now I want to talk about the things you should be doing in mid-game to keep up your lead, progress the map, and eventually win the game. There's also going to be games that are literally just a deathmatch, and very little of those macro concepts can be applied in those games. You know, like you would call those games clown fiestas. And in these
His
games,
fights, I like to call them.
you know, you're mostly going to have to rely on your
Mechanics.
mechanical skill,
Yeah.
which I think is not really teachable. So,
It's teachable
you know, I
somewhat,
believe
I
my current
think.
League of Legends is a really tough subject to cover because essentially every game is different, and
I
there's
think
always
it's
going
super
to be
simple.
bots, and there's always going to be ifs and people inting. So the thing that I will look to cover in general will be concepts that high elo players use, but this doesn't mean that they're the holy grail and can be broken. But before breaking the rules, you first need to learn them. So let's get into it.
Do you think your core is
So
better or
in
more in
most
depth and up to date
games,
than
as an
this?
AD carry,
Bro, of course.
you will be swapping to mid lane. You want to be swapping to mid lane. An exception to this would be if you, let's say, take a bot lane tower super early, and then you want to swap to raise the enemy team to take top lane tower as well, right? But this scenario is not that common nowadays, especially in solo queues, so we'll focus on you mostly being mid lane.
What do
We
you know
already
regarding
kind of
Fra?
talked about tempo in the last video,
Oslo gang.
where I discussed why winning your lane matters. Winning, which means having push, means you generate tempo. And tempo is a fancy word that essentially means being first to somewhere, being first to do something, or basing first. If I'm winning my lane and I shove the wave first and I base, I have tempo because my enemy still has to catch the wave and base after me. Why tracking tempo matters is because if you're ahead
Like-
in terms of tempo, you can essentially matter.
Is this the
tempo
one where
because
Macro never moved?
if I'm winning my
oh,
lanes
yeah.
to somewhere, being first to do something or basing first. If
That's
I'm winning my
crazy,
lane
bro.
and I
He's
shove the
CC'd for
wave
life.
first and I base, I have tempo because my
That's crazy. What I was gonna say was like this video, if I paid for this, I would have a lot of critique because it's very like fast put together. There's not much
Enemies
editing.
don't-
There's not much that stuff. Like the course that I made
catch-
with Tar. Tar is the editor for our YouTube channel, and he also made the course with me. I think they're well made, all the videos
So
and
wait, and
everything,
base
you know. And I want to be concise. I don't want to waste your time.
after me.
I think there's a lot of yapping in this video. There's a lot of like,
Tracking tempo
you know, things that go very fast.
matters is because if you're ahead,
I mean, it's putting it up for
terms of
free.
tempo,
Yeah,
you
yeah, that's
can
what I mean. Like, but
essentially-
that's why if my content was
actually do things like
like I also have a lot of free content as well, right?
enemy-
But if the content that I had that was paid is quite a few tiers above this, and it has to be right to be justified that it's
jungle from
paid.
base and drop a ward and look to catch the enemies, and vice versa. If the enemy has tempo and you recognize it that you are behind on tempo,
If it wasn't, it
you
would
know
be
that
like
entering certain
shit.
areas or
Oh
going
my
somewhere
god, this is crazy,
potentially
no?
get picked off.
Oh yeah, silly note.
So let's look how
Bro, how can you cut the clip there?
tempo ties into playing for objectives. Right?
I wonder if he died. Do you think you guys died?
So, in general, you do not want to take bases 1 minute before an objective spawn or around 1 minute before an objective spawn because you want to be ready to
We have to admit that it's free education.
topic.
Yeah, yeah. It's just someone asked if like they thought this was better than the course or not.
with wave. Whoever gets Drake position first is usually favored because the enemy team has to run into you. So you get mid lane first, you run into Drake, enemy team is in a disadvantage because they have to run into you. The exception for this base rule is when you are basing for a big item, for example, let's say Infinity Edge or Last Whisper, an item that is going to actually make you strong for the fight and give you a good chance of winning the fight. So let's look at this scenario. And we have it on our screen right here.
So what did he say? He said don't base unless you have big item, right? Yeah, makes sense, yeah.
Drake is up and coming in around 1 minute, so we just pushed the mid wave in first. We see Ornn on bot lane right now, so I will be hugging top side and I will look to get this mid wave first. Still see Ornn. I see that Ornn is pretty far away from me to engage on me. I can sneak this wave in fast, and I have Zilean to speed me, so I can potentially run if they decide to contest me here. So here we need to be really careful that we do not die to this Ornn roam, but I'm pretty confident that I can die because we have this ward right here that spots them not coming up with the wave, so I know they're not really contesting, and we have vision here, and I also spotted Victor here last. So here I'm walking up because I have Zilean, and I'm getting this mid wave because I want to...
I like to think of it a bit differently. Like, I mean, I agree with them, right? But I think an easy way to think about it is just like, whenever you get mid-wave chat, you should always be on this side or this side. As long as you always hug a side, if you pick the right side, you should always be safe. Always be safe. In this case, there's a small exception because Ornn, who has like the best long-range engage in the game, but he has a Zilean, so he can speed him up out of it, right? So the general rule for me is always, if you're getting a mid-wave and you're here, you're trolling, always. But if you're getting a mid-wave and you're hugging one of these two sides, you should always be fine as long as you hug the right side. And then the second addition to that rule that I really like, and that's if you look at mid-wave and you think to yourself, I'm not safe if I'm here, and I'm also not safe if I'm here, that just means that's not your mid-wave. It is what it is. Then you need to ask your support to ward, you need to wait, you need to be patient.
So
it is what it is.
Get this mid-wave, run into top side because that's where my jungler is. We'll talk about it in a second. Press base, basing first. Now we're running out of base first. I know that the enemy bot lane, look, they are right now finishing the wave, so they are basing after us. They're gonna base later. I know Jinx wants to base because she hasn't based in a long time. She wants to spend her gold. So now the enemy bot lane is basing. So I have around maybe 10-ish seconds. I'm 10-ish seconds ahead of the enemy AD carry, right? So that means I can walk up here. We get this mid wave, and we get position. We are getting position to contest the next mid wave up ahead here. I don't know why my Syndra is like kind of AFK in this bush, but we are already trying to get this wave faster, because when we get this wave, knowing that Jinx is somewhere here, we can run into Drake, and they have to run into us and face check us. So.
Khalees looks a cool and pro player who saw her in solo queue. She's a lot of
Victor stop. He realizes they're late on tempo, so he's gonna try and keep pushing top lane. We get the wave tempo, and they don't want to face check us. So
they cross my bit.
So in this case, they just don't contest it. But in the case that they do contest, you guys have this position here because of utilizing your tempo and being stronger and basing first. And then they have to run into you, and that's going to be a good fight for you. So another concept that I would like to cover is... Okay, there's a bunch of concepts that we can actually cover from this clip.
I think this video is also quite high-low. Like, yeah.
You always...
Because he doesn't explain why it's a bad fight when they're coming into you. But for a high-low player, of course, that's very like self-explanatory because we already know that. But it's very bad because bushes in League are very OP. If you need to face check into bushes, usually they can always get the first engage on you. So they get a huge win. And they can also keep kiting back. So they can keep, like, they can fuck you on this bush, then they fuck you on this choke, and then they fuck you from this bush, you know? So...
You guys have this position here to be... You guys are playing for it. And
what do you think high-low is? Master Plus.
Wherever your jungler is, that's...
Why it's bad if you go into them rather than them going into you? Because of bushes, essentially. Bushes and chokes. When you need to run into a choke, usually a lot of champions, like, for example, in this game, he had Syndra, right? If you need to run into a choke against Syndra, and she holds her EQ, what the fuck do you do? Right? You don't want to get stunned, but you need to eventually cross the choke, right? Or there's traps on the choke, right? Like if you want to contest this Drake and there's traps here, what do? You walk into the traps. Okay, that's probably a losing fight. You walk into Syndra stun, that's probably a losing fight. Okay, so then you don't walk in. Okay, now they did the Drake. GG.
That's going to be a good fight for you. So another concept that I would like to cover is... Okay, there's a bunch of concepts that we can actually cover from this clip. First concept is you always...
I think you're Diamond Plus watching this. I think you can get a lot out of
your jungler position determines what you guys are playing for at any given time. Essentially, wherever your jungler is, that's strong side. If my jungler is in top side right now, Illaoi is strong side, Ahri is weak side, and as an AD carry, when you're mid lane, you always want to be playing towards your strong side. So you want to be hugging mid lane from top side, because if they engage on you, this is like how your team can come to you the closest, and this is like your safest position for you to contest the wave, right? Another reason for why you want to be playing into top side is if right now we were to try and help Ahri because Ahri might start fighting or whatever, there is always a chance we end up being at a numbers disadvantage, especially if we don't know where the enemy jungler is. Because if enemy jungler is bot side, that is their strong side, right? And if we run into them, then we are going to be at a numbers disadvantage.
Yeah.
Okay, another concept at the same time is
doing
doing one objective at a time. So if my jungler starts doing Herald, or if my jungler is diving top lane, or if my jungler is invading,
Is it smart to sometimes hover opposites and not reveal your jungler's position? No, usually never. Like, for example, if Neon now went here, bro, that's he's asking to die. Because then if Rek'Sai is close, Rek'Sai tunnels on him and he dies. I think enemy jungler was Rek'Sai, right? Usually, like, this part of the map now is very scary. So not only do you not want to go here because your jungler isn't here, but you don't want to go here because that's the easiest way to just die and int.
Those are plays.
And especially as you get higher and higher elo, and in the mid game, it's very obvious where your jungler is. The enemy team 100% knows that Syra is either on topside camps or on Herald. Because when you look at their vision, right, they have vision topside. So 99% enemy has vision bot side.
Entire team should be involved in. So if my jungler is doing either of these plays, that means that I have to play safe and I have to not die and I have to think about how I can contribute to that play. What a lot of AD carries, or what a lot of people in general will do, including myself sometimes, right, if I make a mistake, is, for example, dying on this mid wave.
Thank you very much, yesterday, and that was your brother. You did a really good job.
If I can contest this mid wave, if I feel safe to do it, if I have wards, I will take it. If not, I will just run to Zyra and help her, right? Because we are doing one thing at the same time. I'm not looking to fight. I'm not looking to do anything but get the wave if I can, because getting the wave means that we get tempo, and that's always better to have than not to have, right? Dynamiting the Drake, so I know I'm safe. Another concept, maybe this is not super applicable here, but a lot of people, like a lot of AD carries, have a bad habit of hitting enemy tower. And hitting a tower is also a play. And if I were to hit this tower, then we would be doing two separate plays at the same time. So hitting a tower is no-go. Yeah. And also, if you're playing against the mage, most of the times, if the mage has a wave clear, it's kind of pointless. So if the enemy mage has wave clear, you just want to push the wave and run somewhere else. So we took the mid wave. We're going to help Zyra.
A nice rule that I like, that's like right 99% of the time, is you only hit towers if you can kill towers.
With her Herald, right? And then
because hitting tower always has a risk, but if you can kill the tower, then that usually alleviates that risk.
Team decides to go on my Ahri, so to that we can respond by diving the enemy Xante, right? They all go for Ahri, and we make a response by diving this guy, and that's yeah, that's essentially just cross map. And one thing, okay, one very important thing.
I don't see your link,
right now,
PU.
What a lot of AD carries will do. So here I will commit into top side, right? I'm dropping mid wave. I'm committing into top side. I might get this kill or not sure, right? Like, if you get a kill, nice. If you don't get it, I mean, not terrible either, right? But what you want to do right now is you want to be really selfish, and you want to make sure if you rotate it this hard into a lane,
you can link up with GGs without getting timed out. I think you fucked up.
You will take over the lane, so you will take the tower and you will take the next wave, because you want to maximize your income always. And yes, sometimes your team will try and steal it, but in general, it should be the AD carry that always takes it. Or the guy who rotated into the lane and used their resources. So here would be another example.
Can I have a look after the game?
We are fighting topside.
Or after the video, I mean.
We win the fight, right? What a lot of AD carries would do here is, if the solo laner decides to go here, they will just base, and they will be like, oh, I need to go mid lane. But in this case, their enemy team is dead. There's no one on the map. So you want to always, after winning a fight, maximize your gold income, you know? If you can. Yeah. And in this case, that is to push this top wave, get a top tower.
Bro, but your advanced course and the Masters now, appreciate it.
Because they're all still dead, so I'm not afraid of dying to anyone. Yeah, so, good. You know, just maximizing your profits.
I think it's also good to note that, like, I mean, you just think about if Cannon stays here, he can't really get tower, but since you're Jinx, you take tower fast, so if you stay, then
push this top wave. You know? I'm not a physics.
Let's do this
another case of how I maximize profits. I maximize the gold income that I have with a little bit of risk. So let's look at this scenario, right? We are in a pretty losing position. As you can see on the map, we have no control, no vision. We're being pushed in. We're behind. As a team, we're behind on gold. So here we kill the Syndra, me and Talia, right?
Nice.
Okay, Syndra, that's good. Now look what happens. So we just killed Syndra. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna base here, right? Because looking at the map state, very high chance if I go for next wave, I'm dead, right? But what I actually see happening is my top laner TPing on mid lane and my Talia and Rel running towards mid lane. So what this essentially tells me is that, yes, we are making a play on the other side of the map. But this also means that likely the enemy team, the Skarner, the jungler and top laner that I don't see right now, they will be running to help their team, right?
Yeah.
They will be running to help
The idea is just enemy team will go and participate in the fight so you can push out bot. Smart. It's good.
their team. So that's
Let's go next play.
rush out, which still has some risk to it of this game we are behind, right? Objective.
I think that was the play, but I don't know how he yapped about it for so long, but we skip.
So another thing that I want to talk about is jungle camps, and especially in the context of invading enemy jungle camps, because they are like a mini objective. If there's no Drake, no towers, the objective is to play for enemy jungle camps or taking your own jungle camps. When is it really good to take your own jungle camps? Anytime your jungler dies and he has jungle camps up, just take them. You're actually doing him a favor by making it respawn faster on a higher level, you know? And while your jungler
Doing him a favor. I don't know about that one, but it's not bad. Yeah, it's good to take his camps.
chances are you can't really progress doing anything else on the map anyways. So Miley died here.
But doing him a favor, bro? I don't know if you're doing him a favor, bro.
Time to take
He probably would have time to take those wolves.
one camp before I have to be there for next
you know
wave.
what I mean?
I'm just gonna take it, right? Okay, another scenario. Miley's in top lane. The whole enemy team is chasing him. Some players here would maybe look to run top lane to help their team, and sometimes that can be good. But what is also good is the 100% play that I will go for of taking the enemy camp.
So here's how I like to teach this, because I love this. I love this. The question you need to ask yourself is like two questions. Super simple, two questions. One is, first question, can I make it to this play? When you look at this play, doesn't it look over? Doesn't it look like all the juice has been spent from both sides? I think so. And the second thing I ask is like, if I do make it here, what do I do? Can I kill these 3 people? No. Okay, then I don't go. I think always asking yourself this, because it's also like, okay, let's say if Lee Sin is coming here, right? You see my drawing on the minimap? If he's coming here, well, now that's super close to me, so I can make it really easily. So maybe I should move, you know? But if Lee Sin is running up here, well, that's fucking far, bro. That's far. I gotta do a lot of walking to get all the way over there. So I don't think I'm gonna make it to that. So for me, those are the two simple questions I like to ask. First, can I make it to the play? Second, what is my impact in the play? I think if you always just ask yourself that, it makes it so like clear cut when you should move and not. And then Neon makes a great point here, which is when you decide not to move, you need to min-max resources on the other side of the map. Take their Raptors, check their red buff, check their Krugs, check everything, you know? Get as much as you can. Be greedy.
If you can,
Be greedy with
taking the enemy camps is really good because it's actually more value than just the gold that you get from it, because you actually deny enemy getting the gold and the EXP, so you create a bigger discrepancy in between you.
True.
So it's like the value of taking a camp is actually just doubled because enemy is not getting it and you are getting it essentially. Look at this case here. We just killed the entire enemy team on both sides. I still see they have pretty severe respawn timers, right? But look at what I do. I will greed, I will lose my tempo, I will recall very late, but I will at the same time get this mid wave, and then I will run into their top side that has camps up, and I will also yoink the camps.
Oh,
so
he's getting greedy.
After a fight,
He's getting very greedy.
On the map, but to get a lot of farm in a very short amount of time, because there was a lot of time for me to grab, and I also do deny 2 camps from the enemy team. So, you know, like one disadvantage to doing something like this, you need to be wary that enemy now has a lot of tempo, so they could run into your jungle or they can retake your vision and you will have to face check them. But as long as after this, you do not face check and die to the enemy, you just got yourself a really huge lead.
True, he's doing the enemy jungler a favor, no? He's taking his camps. Wait, so when he takes his own jungler's camp, it's a favor. But when he takes the enemy jungler camp, it's double value.
So another concept that I want to talk about is the concept of hovering. And what hovering means is this. So here,
Something's
I will
not
take this
adding up
midwave,
here,
right?
Neon.
And what a lot of players, if they don't see something that they can play for, they don't have anything to base for, they will right now just sit AFK and wait for the next wave to come. But what hovering means is
Just
doing
go
what
base.
I'm
No, you have
doing
mana
here.
immune in base.
I'm gonna start running towards bot lane. And I'm not fully committing here. My goal here is not to fully commit. My goal
Why
is
did
to
he type
run
thresh?
somewhere around here.
He didn't
and
type
keep looking
anything,
the
bro.
botlane fight. If this fight develops into something bigger, right now I have the option to fully commit.
I thought he would type the thresh
if
and
I see
move.
that there is no fight or the fight is very lost, I will go back mid lane to be on time on this wave again. You see? So it's much easier to, from here, make a decision whether I commit to this fight and actually rotate all the way, or go back to my mid wave. While as if I was on the mid wave, as my thresh is right now, and there's a fight that breaks out here, you would have to run all the way from mid lane, right? So hovering is essentially just running somewhere and seeing if there's a play that you fully commit.
It's muted, but thresh is hugging turret.
From the get-go. It's just, well, you know what it means. It's
I guess.
hovering.
I think just typing
So in
thresh
this
and
case,
move, but
I think I do decide to commit because I deem that there's a fight, and I kill the Ahri and I die, but
I would have liked him just to reset for mana
I'm
immune
pinging my
though.
trash because my trash was standing AFK under tower, whilst he could have been hovering with me, and he would have now been there with me, because what is he going to do now, mid lane alone, right?
Yeah, I would have liked him just to base for mana
So,
immune,
I
but
think team fighting in general is a kind of a hard concept to teach, because I feel like it mostly just depends and falls into the mechanics spectrum. What I'll try to give you is some general points in how I recognize what my role in a given game is and how that
for
changes.
me, teaching teamfight is mostly just teaching like about threats, just understanding what you need to be scared of, and that helps you play a lot more aggro, and also understanding when you need to play scared. I think that's the biggest thing that you can really teach about team fighting, and then how you outplay those threats. I mean, that's up to the individual, right? But being always really fast at recognizing them and understanding them well, so that you're always prepared for it. That's really what you can like teach in a team fight.
The way that I usually play my team fights. What I'll do is categorize AD carry champs into 3 main sections or 3 main gameplay types
Okay.
in the next parts, and to try and help you figure out the optimal way to use them in team fights, as well as understand different roles AD carries can have in a game. This will also make you able to understand their drafting a little bit better. So first we have the utility and long range type of AD carry class, which is champions like Ashe, Jhin, Varus, Misfortune, even Ezreal to an extent, right? They usually have decent DPS, you know, like they don't deal the most damage, but what they really are good at is playing kind of on their own. They can stay really far back without the need to be exposed to enemy engage. And they're not really flash dependent, so it doesn't really matter if you have flash or not. You can usually just stay back and be in a safe position and still contribute to the fight. They're really good if enemy has mage type of champs or immobile AD carry type of champs, because if their carries like mobility, that means that abilities like Ashe Arrow, Jhin, or Jhin W have a lot of value because they can easily threaten the backline, right? So that's, yeah, they're pretty good at following up on engage, essentially. What you really want to make sure on these champs is waiting for the right moment to use your abilities. For example, if enemy backline has no cleanse, Ashe Arrow super huge value. You can even hold it for most of the team fight to just have one opportunity to shoot on the enemy carry, and you can win the game just based off one play. So yeah, if you're playing Ashe Varus, enemies have no cleanse, super huge ulti value. So next up, we have the hyper carries.
Hyper carries,
like
yeah,
Jinx,
nice.
Aphelios, Kog'Maw, Sevier. I would even call them the frontline counters. But these AD carries can be really hard to play in solo queue, because generally you want some bruisers or tanks on your team, as you need someone to start the fight for you, as well as block the enemy engage, because you really like peel. However, they have really good TPS front to back, which means you just hit whatever is on your screen, and whatever you can hit, most of the times is the enemy tank or frontliner.
Yeah.
And by doing this, you just win because you are able to kill their frontline faster than their AD carry can, or that's the premise. That's how you want to play. So if both teams have a lot of tanks, have a lot of tanky champs, then hyper carries are generally the best for the comps, because you just burn it through the frontline faster than the enemy AD carry, right?
I mean, I agree with them somewhat, but it's like, For example, how Kog'Maw plays a fight and how Varus and Ashe plays a fight is completely the same, you know? So this categorization, I feel like it's just Jhin that plays quite differently. You know what I mean?
They're also super vulnerable to getting engaged on because they need to be constantly like you need.
I think it's just Varus and Ashe have like that ulti to play make, but it's like
position yourself within the auto attack range of enemy champions if you want to deal damage. So you are always in a potential risky spot. You're also very vulnerable to flanks because yeah, you cannot afford to sit back. You actually need to be in range to deal damage. So that's why flash usage on these champs is extremely important. Like I see many people making the mistake of
flashing for a kill.
Late game when they already have their core items, they're flashing for kills. No, you don't want to do that. You just want to keep your flash because that is actually.
But I think that's on every champ. I think that's on every champ. I don't think that's just hyper carries.
Important thing for team fighting is to have flashes on these carries. Otherwise, you might just get fucked because if you don't have a flash and the enemy engaged champion has a flash,
flashing for a kill after you have 2-3 items, really bad.
They can always engage on you. Next step, we have champions like Kai'Sa, Corki, Lucian, Zeri, Kalista, Nila, Twitch, you know. I would argue that they are the hardest of the groups because they require you to be able to snowball and they're also the hardest to play mechanically.
So what group is this?
These champions kind of can play a little bit different to other AD carries, I would say. They can you can position yourself on a flank, you can be a bit more cocky because you have a lot of mobility. And yeah, you want to always be able to
I feel like you can't put Nyla in the same tier as any other ADC. I feel like, I don't know.
Because you have the ability to easily follow up. You're also very strong if you're snowballing. So
you don't flash for Dark Harvest stacks.
You know,
that's a different topic.
It can be really hard to kill because of your mobility, and you also have the option to build defensive items on most of these champions. So that makes you even harder to kill, possibly, right? However, they're super hard to play from behind because you have very low range and you lack DPS. And they're usually the best with a team that goes in and dives, as you have really good follow-up and cleanup tools, usually. But you lose to AD carries in pure front to back, and you need, again, I want to put emphasis on the fact that you need to be able to snowball an early game lead, otherwise you can become quite useless. Hey guys, that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching, appreciate it.
Bit of a miss for me here on the different types of ADCs. I don't really... Like, how do you team fight on Nyla? You didn't really tell me, you know what I mean? You just told me that I need to snowball. But now I've snowballed and it's like, what do I do? So I didn't really fully get it.